Now, I'm not a sex guru like Luna or Xcode or whatever other YouTubers out there that tell their stories or personal experiences, but I do have this one story I'm about to share, and it's about the time I almost got a blowjob. Now, this was back in freshman year of high school, and I was about 13, and it was in the beginning of the year. So here's how everything went. So I met this girl whose name I'm not going to say for obvious reasons, but I became friends with this girl. Now, how she looks like, well, she she had dirty blondish hair and her eyes were green bluish and her face and body were like a 5 and 6 out of 10. Now she looks different, but when you're 13 and you just entered high school, you can imagine that your standards for girls would be pretty low. Anyways, I met this girl and we were just merely friends at first, nothing special. We were just friends, nothing more. Although she did try to talk to me on several occasions in person, but I just shrugged it off because I wasn't interested at first. Then I ended up talking to her on Skype and Skyping her and talking to her on Kick a lot because back when me and my friends would get on Skype a lot, she would join in because she knew my friends, and that's how I got in contact with her and that's how I started talking to her more. And then so one day I was just like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to try to get some. Wink wink. So I took it up a notch and I started talking to her on Skype, and we talked and we finally touched on the topic of sex. And one thing led to another, and she ended up telling me how she met some guy online and gave him a blowjob under this bridge by the train tracks, which is a place right by my school. And a lot of potheads go down there and they smoke weed. And so we started talking again, and one thing led to another again. And I just basically straight up asked if I could get a hand job at first. And she said basically, yeah, sure. And I was like, no way on the inside. I was feeling all excited. I couldn't believe it because I wasn't, I didn't think it would lead to this. And then so I switched it up a bit and I stepped it up and I asked instead of a hand job if she could give me a blow job. And she said, yeah, basically only if I shave. And I was just like, no way. It was originally going to be a hand job, but then I asked if it could be a blow job. So this girl was basically down. And after that, we did some things while we were Skyping. Wink, wink. And we also planned to fuck, but at first she didn't want to fuck because she said she wanted to save her virginity. And then, like, later throughout the conversation, she was like, you know what? Fuck it, whatever, let's do it. So we planned to fuck, and we had this whole plan to fuck, and we were basically gonna go into this empty house next to my friend's house because the neighbors move out. And we also planned to go here because there's nowhere else to go. We couldn't get a motel, and I couldn't go to her house, and she couldn't come to my house because of parents and things like that. So before all that, before we were gonna do all that, she was gonna blow me first. And the plan for the BJ was basically we planned to do it right after school, and we planned to go under this bridge where she did it to this other guy. And I was like, you know what, fuck it, whatever. Sloppy seconds, I didn't care. I didn't care at the time about sloppy seconds. And we planned it on this specific day, not the day after we Skyped, but a couple days afterwards. And I remember not masturbating until this specific day. And so I told my friend, who I always walk home with, about this whole scenario, but I didn't tell him who the girl was. I told him everything, but I didn't tell him who this girl was. And so this friend is just a crazy dude. He's like, fuck everything. He's like, fuck this, fuck that, fuck you, fuck that. He's down to do anything. You could tell him to go fucking steal alcohol from the store. He'd go do it, as long as you like drink with him or something like that. He's crazy. He's crazy in a good way. Now, I told him on this specific day that I wasn't going to walk home with him because I was going to get some. And basically, he was like, fuck that shit, man. Just walk home with me. It's boring walking home. Blah, 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 blah. And he just begged me and tried to convince me to walk home with him. But I didn't care and I wasn't paying attention. And, skip forward. The day finally came. The big day. The day I was going to become a man. So my friend was aware I wasn't going to walk home with him. So he was still in denial about the whole thing, and he was trying to convince me not to do this because she already did it to another guy, and he was, bringing up that point. He was like telling me, "Oh, don't do it, bro. She fucking blew another guy. You can't. Aren't you paying attention, dude?" Blah 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 blah. But I still didn't listen to him, and I wasn't paying attention. So anyway, skip forward. I'm at lunch, and lunch ends, and I had health class next, and I had health class with this girl too. And everyone had to wait outside the portable until the teacher came back because I guess she was at lunch too. And I'm like hanging around the portable, and a couple other people were waiting there too for the teacher to come back, along with this girl who's gonna give me the BJ after school. She was waiting there too. And then comes along my friend, and he just comes up and he starts talking to me. And keep in mind, he doesn't know who this girl is. And he just, we just start talking normally. And then he says that, I should walk home with him and blah, blah, blah. And he just touches on the topic. And I'm just trying to get off the topic. And I'm like, oh, come on, man. Let's talk about something else. And he doesn't give a fuck. So then he just pulls the plug, and he says loudly, as I recall, he's like, "Man, fuck that bitch, bro. She's blowing over 20 dudes. You're gonna get STDs, bro. Fuck that bitch, dude. She's a dumb hoe. Don't do it, bro." And he just goes on talking like that, and I'm just like in my mind, fucking shit, because she hears, along with some other people. Keep in mind, she's a couple people away from us, so she hears, and other people hear. And some of those other people that heard were some of my other friends, and they just get in on it. And I'm not gonna be like, what the fuck, dude? What'd you say to my girl? Because first of all, she wasn't my girl anyways. She was just some girl I was gonna do stuff with. And secondly, this guy, he was my homeboy. He was a good friend of mine. And also on that day, I was also feeling really nervous. Like, I felt like not doing it. I felt like backing down and being like, you know what, fuck the whole thing. I don't want to do this, because I was really nervous. I've never done anything like that. But anyways, that all happened, and I'm just like, fuck, in my mind, And I try not to make matters worse because he doesn't know who she is, and she doesn't know that he doesn't know who she is, along with everyone else that, got in on it. Because like I said, there were other people around, and they got in on it. So anyways, I just don't say anything because, like I said, I don't want to make matters worse, or I don't want to make things more awkward than they already are. And after all that, the teacher comes back, and class starts up, and class is normal as usual, and nothing awkward. Well, actually, it is really awkward, but nothing special happens, in class. And then class ends, and I see her walk into her next class, and I just go up to her, and I literally just say, like, "Hey, we're still gonna do it?" And she doesn't even look at me. She doesn't even look to face me. She just keeps looking forward, and she says this, "You told everybody." With a face of disappointment. And it's just really awkward. I don't know if she's going to break down. I don't know if she's going to yell at me. I don't know if she's going to... I just don't know what she's going to do. So I just quickly, I just say, "Okay, peace out." And I literally just say that, and I just leave. And I just walk away to my next class. And yeah, school just goes on, and school ends, and I end up walking home with my friend. And as you can imagine, he's all happy, and he's still like, "Oh, dude, fuck that bitch, bro, blah, 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 blah." And, he just went on like that. And I ended up telling him all that went on. Basically, I ended up telling him, or clearing things for him, like telling him, "Oh, dude, you just said this in front of her, and this all, she doesn't know that you don't know that you don't know who she is." I basically end up clearing up everything. And he just laughs about it, and then I just ended up laughing about it. And yeah, that was just it. It was pretty awkward between me and her afterwards, but pretty soon afterwards we talked again. But whenever we talked, we never brought up the whole blowjob hand job thing, but we talked, we just didn't bring that up. And to be honest, I'm pretty happy my friend intervened with that, because like I said, I was really nervous about that day because I never done anything like that. And she wasn't even that good looking, and he was right. She's already blown other guys, and that was pretty like nasty. And also when we talked on Skype, me and her, she told me a couple other things that weren't about sex, but she told me that she smokes cigarettes, or she likes smoking cigarettes, and she already drinks and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm pretty happy my friend accidentally prevented all that. And as for her, she's not really any better now. I don't know much about her, but what I've heard is that she did or does some hardcore drugs like meth or cocaine, and now she tweaks and things like that. But yeah, I don't want to give much about her out. Anyways, it's just things that I've heard. But yeah, that's how I almost got a blowjob slash hand job, and that's how my friend accidentally prevented it. Hope you enjoyed.